Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Be Open and Authentic with Rohit. Today we have Sreekar Mothukuri with us. And we'll be talking about the topic that is very close to my heart and I'm very passionate to talk about. And today we are going to talk with the right person because and you'll know it why. Right? So Sreekar is a sports fanatic, and I say it in a very positive way, and you will know it. You'll know the reason very soon. And Sreekar is also an expert in the field of sports and how to build a champion out of a child. And he's done a lot of research, and he covered the journeys of very successful athletes in India, Olympians, successful cricket players, and many players. So today I'll be talking about his journey, which is very interesting, and we'll tap onto his knowledge on how to raise a champion. And we'll be talking, all things sports. And I am very curious to learn about his experience with, Rafael Nadal and many other stars that he has personally met. So let's get started. So firstly, thank you, Sreekar, for taking the time to talk to me on the show today. It's such an honor to have you, and kudos to all the work that you do in the field of sports, and that too in India. So I'm blown away with your journey, and we'll talk about it soon. But yeah, thanks for everything you do.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Rohit. It's my pleasure to be on the show. Yeah,
cool. Thank you, Anna. So sounds good. So can you start with a little introduction on your journey in US and how you went to India? Just a brief introduction is good.
Yeah, actually, I'm an engineer by profession. I worked in the corporate world for 14 years. Then during that point of time, even though I'm working in the corporate world and earning good money, I always felt that I have to do something in sports. Even I go to work, I'll be waiting for the evening to play tennis, or I'll be waiting for the weekend to play cricket. That's how my schedule is always. So one day I was discussing with one of my friends, saying that this is how I'm feeling, even though everything is good. I think I have to do something. Then we were discussing different things. And based on my experience and my pain points, I thought I should do something in sports. And that's how Dream About Sports started, where we thought of helping aspiring sports parents with the information required in raising a champion.
Nice. And you are still doing Dream About Sports, right?
Yeah. So basically, growing up, I always wanted to be a cricketer, but due to lack of knowledge and guidance, I could not pursue my passion. Even during those days, there are not much career opportunities. So parents never encourage their children in sports. I was very fanatic about sports. By seeing my madness, my parents put me in hostel in 6th, 7th, and 8th. That they were a little worried what this guy will become when he grows up. Because I was anyways last in the class. The only thing I know was sports. So they told me to complete my engineering. So I did it. And after my engineering, I requested them can you give me 1 year? I want to give it a shot. Otherwise, I'll have that regret for my rest of my life. So my family had a complete discussion with other members and all. I think he's done now. He completed his engineering. He's asking till from 6th grade. And we kept on pushing 10th. 10th is crucial, 12th is crucial. And we made him complete the engineering. Now he's asking 1 year. And at last they agreed for it. Nice. Then I played 2-day leagues in Hyderabad. And I was the captain of Vijay Hanuman team.
Oh, wow.
So once I started playing those leagues, I understood that we have 14 matches in a season and 7 matches were washed out. Wow. So in that 7 matches I played, I scored 100, couple of 50s, took few wickets. And me and Pragnan Ojha debuted in the same match. I was playing against him. He was 16-year-old and I was 21-year-old that time. Okay. So I played that season and I realized that the Hyderabad team did not change for the last 10 years. It's the same. So I thought it's not going to be a 1 year affair. It's going to take time. So I told my parents, okay, thanks for giving me this opportunity. Now I'll do whatever you say. So that's how my journey is so far. Yeah, in sports.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know. And I completely feel you because, I had, same aspirations, although I'm not so good at it, which I realized later. And my brother is a very good player. And in fact, the funny part is my father, wanted us to become cricketers. So he was
nice,
like,
nice.
just go and join an academy. I don't care and whatever it is. But on the other hand, I was like, our financial situation, isn't stable in the sense that we are not there to take a risk on our, careers. So we had to take a step back. And then when we had that opportunity, I asked my brother if you want to give it a shot for like a couple of years, then, go ahead. But we also realized, it's a bit after engineering, it's a little later, it's too late to become a champion, right? Because you need to, you need to have that exposure background and, you need to learn the technical skills very early in the stage. I think which you have written a book on, which we'll cover that later. So, but yeah, I totally, see and feel what you're saying. So, and also I want to, share one more interesting point, about you, Sreekar. So, if you remember, with this quote, right? You never know whom you are inspiring. So just keep doing the great job, right? So when you started Dream About Sports, I think back in 2014 and 15. So
13, I think in 2013 you started.
13 you started. I learned about it in like 2014 or 15 when I met one of the co-founder Ashwin. So I was just I just met him as a mutual friend and cousin. So I learned about Dream About Sports. You were working on creating a social media platform for sports players and interviewing all these sports stars and all. Then I was, since me and a couple of my friends are very much into the sports, then we started thinking about, we should be doing something similar in the sports because there is so much opportunity in India and that's close to our heart. So we started building something something called My Indian Sports. We started as a blogging platform and then we wanted to build a sports analytics app, where we, curate all the content or the data for the players and then build a profile for them so that it's helpful for the future. But yeah, it didn't pan out as expected. That's a different conversation. But yeah, thanks for, being an inspiration for us, very early in the stage.
Oh, thanks a lot. I never knew that I'm doing what I love and so many people, even I was surprised, like when I started it, I always felt that even if one player, if one parent can produce a champion by watching this content, I'll be very happy. My dream will be fulfilled, I thought. But that a number of testimonials I got after the content is produced and so many people saying, then I was surprised, like it's way bigger than what I thought. So
yeah, it is definitely. It may not work out in the way that we expected, but somehow the other way it will have a lasting impact on people. So yeah, that's the best part of any journey, in my opinion. So that being said, I want to take a step back and ask you this one more question before we dive fully into the sports. So you said you were working in corporate America for 14 years. So that is something
10 years
that
in US
many
and
people
4 years in
only
India.
dream of, right? Gotcha.
Right.
So you worked in India and then moved to US, and then that is something that many people would dream of, right? Because that's a lot of big money, stable job for the most part, and then just a very great lifestyle, right? So if you want to quit that lifestyle and try something in India, and particularly with respect to sports, because we love sports, but it's only one sport that we always talk about. I mean, that's a different part of it, and there is no bigger money yet, in Indian sports when it comes to kind of the work that we wanted to do, right? Unless you are a bigger sports player, the money is very low. So, what made you take the decision, and what was your thought process? Because I'm sure your family, you had to get think of the future generations in the family, and then your wife and kids. It's a lot to process and take that risk. So, what was your thought process?
Always sports had always given me that high, whether I watch or I play. So it's pure passion for the game. And when I was working in US, I did not even immediately quit the job. I told Yashwin that this is what I'm planning to do, and suddenly so many people connected to my vision and wanted to help. Suddenly Ashwin friends came up that we will do something in India and all. So I was doing the job. I completely did not quit in 2013. I was doing my job. And Ashwin was, we were discussing like whom to interview, what questions we have to prepare, how to approach them and all the process. Then he used to go to different people and tell about our vision, and they used to connect this to the story, and they're ready to give the interview. That's how it started.
Nice.
And slowly we have to pay the employees also. Like if some people are working for everything, right? It's not going to come for free. So I used to fund the initiative, and also we supported many grassroots athletes also. We have
Wow.
seen in if you go to any local district tournaments, many athletes run with barefoot.
Yeah.
So with a barefoot and no hurdles to practice and all, and we have
Yeah.
donated hurdles, shoes, balls in various government schools. So it's
Mm.
always like we never thought like dream about sports is to make money. I never had that vision or how it is going to make money. Zero. It's just that I
Yeah.
could not become. I have to make someone. That was the
Yeah.
only intention we started,
Nice.
and we did not think much about the money at all. How I'm going to survive. During that time, I'm doing a job actually.
Yeah.
In 2016, I did a job. The challenge, what happened was in US when you are doing consulting, in between projects, sometimes your project is over and you're in between the
Yeah.
projects, and that's when the challenge started. When I'm not getting regular income between the projects, I'm unable to fund the project here in India. So
Mm.
even some Sania Mirza's father has insisted that Sreekar, even though what you are doing is great, but you need to have some income coming in. Otherwise, this kind of model doesn't sustain.
Yeah.
So I realized that little later
True.
because we have our own expenses too. We have to pay for the employees, we have to pay for the
Exactly.
equipment, and everything. It's a cost. It's not that straightforward. So if you have a job and
Yeah.
doing, you can support it. Suddenly, if recession comes and all, this is not the right model to do. But still, we did till 3 4 years. We continued doing the interviews and all. Later, we put a pause for some time. We thought we'll see how we can do that. Later, I started doing the same thing in books and all. Yeah.
Mm. Gotcha. So you started pivoting to books and then
Huh.
becoming an author. Okay. Wow, that's good. So, I think some the break between the jobs, in fact, help you to understand your what we may call it as higher purpose, but understanding what you want to do or made you realize what you really want to achieve and do going
Right.
forward. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. That. Thanks for sharing this, Shikhar.
I
So
thought this is where I can add value to people more than the IT field. This is
exactly,
always my passion. I always felt I
yeah.
can make a difference here. Yeah.
No, that is so true. And to your dream about at least helping one people. If you can build one Olympian or just one national player with your help, one or the other way, I
Right.
think that's a lasting impact on the sports in India,
Right.
right? Because it needs a lot of uplift from
All you
many
need is
people
one
like
idea.
you. True.
Okay. All you need is one idea to change the direction of your life. So all I'm trying to get is
Yeah.
as much information as possible. You never know where someone is stuck. That one advice might change their life. So all it takes is that. So my goal is to
Exactly.
ask all the questions related to them and do my job honestly and see what best I can do.
Great, great. That's good to know, and I think that's a very interesting thought process as well. We may think, there there is so many things that we need to know or so many things we need to learn, but maybe that one idea which can click to us can just change the direction and put us in the right path. That's so true. So just curious to understand since with Dream About Sports, you have spoken, to a lot of athletes, and like Sania Mirza, many badminton players, and some cricketers, and yeah. So, and you also covered some of the Olympian journeys in your book. So, how did you get access to all of these sports players? At least when you start,
Right.
right? So,
Yeah, definitely.
it's not
Any
easy,
startup
particularly
is
you are
it's
in
not
US
that straightforward.
so, yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah,
For any startup, when you're starting, it's not that straightforward. So when we came up with the idea that we have to interview these people, then I told Yashwin that let's try going to each academy and trying to connect with parents and athletes, see if they can, because that time social media is not that big. So what happened
exactly.
was Yashwin went to Sania Mirza Academy 3 4 times to get an appointment with Imran sir,
Hmm.
and he understood what we are trying to do, and he was a sports journalist himself before,
Ah,
so he understands the challenges and all, and he agreed to do the interview.
nice.
Once we did the interview with him, and the type of questions we asked, he was very impressed. Then he said, if you want an interview with Sania, I can get it done.
Wow.
So that was like a big icing on the cake. We never expected Sania Mirza's interview. We just went for the father and told, because he's a parent, he has seen in and out. So we wanted his interview. Once this happened, and Sania Mirza is a very big icon at that time.
True.
Once this happened, then everyone, whenever we approach other people, they used to ask, who else have you interviewed?
Yeah.
So once we told that Sania, we did Imran sir, Sania Mirza and others were ready to give in badminton.
Yeah.
And Sindhu was just, I think 17 or 18 at that time. Satvik was 14. Now he's one of the best. Lakshya Sen was like 13, 14. We still have those interviews. Nikhil Zareen was 13, 14. Now he's the world champion. So we interviewed many people, and once recently I met Satvik and we were discussing something like, he says, Anna, I still remember that interview Yashwin Anna did, and he asked me a question, what do you want to become when you grow up? And I told I want to play Olympics, and I did it. I still watch the video. Okay.
Wow.
So that was wonderful. Then again in US, in Houston there was ATP 250 point tournament. So Wayne Bryan, the father of Bryan brothers, world number one tennis players, doubles tennis players, he is a presenter in the tournament. So I tried to reach him. I told him, sir, I need your interview. I have read your book. It's very inspiring. I'm coming from this. He said, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. Then again, I went from office in between, took some permission and went to the stadium, bought a ticket. Again, I went. He said, I'm actually quite busy. I can't do it. Can we do some other time? Then again, I went back to office. Next day, I came, bought the ticket for the stadium. Again, I approached him. Then he thought, this guy is a mad guy. It's like he's not going to leave me. So he asked, what exactly you want? Then I said, so these are the questions I have. I have 10 questions. Please have a look at it. I'll not take more than 10 minutes. But your interview is very useful for many people, I said. Then he saw the questionnaire and said, no, I can't do all this. I have to rush. Okay, it's up to you how much you want to tell, you tell. Then once we started the conversation, he enjoyed the process. Then he went for more, I think he went for over 20 minutes. Then after that, next day I went to watch the tournament. He saw me, he took me aside, he took me to Bryan Brothers, he made me meet them. He was telling a lot of stories and he was talking about the Indian tennis and all. It's all just like, it's relentless effort, even though I'm a very introvert and it's very difficult for me to ask someone. But for this, it's the only purpose was driving me. I thought no matter how many rejections I face, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. Until he says no, then it's okay. Till that time, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. When he's still doubtful, I'll do it tomorrow. He's busy, I understand that. So that's how Wayne Bryan happened. When Wayne Bryan's happened, he's the father of world number one doubles players. And suddenly in India, a big thing opened. Like everyone was like, wow, you guys are doing in US as well. So that's how it started. The journey has started. But we still remember the roots, how challenging it was, but we thoroughly enjoyed the process.
Wow. So it's a pure passion and purpose that has given you all the access and the relentless effort. Oh, wow. That is so dope. I wouldn't imagine doing anything of that sort, because it takes a lot of heart, to, go day after day and, in investing money and without even, being sure that, to get an interview. And it's not that you're even trying to get an interview of an international player, right? In the sense, you're trying to interview the network and then you get access to the player. That is great. Thanks for sharing this. So since, building on top of it, right? You've spoken to Sonia Mirza's father and many other coaches who supported great players. Right, and you have spoken to the players themselves as well, right? Be it top badminton players in India or Olympians. Right. So, what are some of the common patterns that you observed in their journey? Because I strongly believe every journey has some of the other similar patterns. So, I'm just curious to understand what are all the patterns that you observed in the life of a successful players?
Yeah, if you talk me, number one trait for them all to be successful is passion. So they all started playing the sport for fun. It's just the environment in which they are growing in. Okay, so they all started playing gully cricket and all. And in school, they had that facilities, and they just started playing. Suddenly, a coach felt that this kid has talent, and I would
Yeah.
like to talk to your mother and tell that why don't you take this sport seriously. It all
Yeah.
started like kids are having fun doing that activity, and some kids realize that they are good at it, and they told their parents or coaches that I want to be this. And some kids are really enjoying the game, but they don't know exactly which sport, so the coach has identified that.
Yeah.
It always comes from the it always came from the child. Suppose if I have interviewed 50 people, in that 49 people, all it was driven by the child. It's never the parent that he wanted
Uh,
to be a player, he could not become, so he want his son to be a player. It's never like that. It's just one parent. Other than that, all 49
uh,
was like driven by the child. Someone identified and told the parent that why don't you try this? So they also have no clue. They just went step by step. Luckily, one more thing happened was when they all were that passionate, and luckily they also found the right coaches at the right time.
yep.
Yeah, that also helped them a lot. And once you have passion, that burning desire, determination, all this comes into play, right?
True.
So that is the key for discipline, desire, and determination. Passion is the key. Sometimes
Yep.
parents say that we try to motivate the child, but my child is not interested, is not putting effort, focus. If you are thinking about all this, it's because the child is still not loving the game. You need
Yep.
to see why he's not loving the game or in what area is good at. So
Yep.
without this thing, all the other traits will fall back.
Yep.
So, and again, when I was researching some international players, they're all multi-sport athletes. They all played
Yep.
various sports. They never started like they want to become a cricketer at 4 or 5. They
Mm.
all played whatever sport is famous in that area, like soccer, cricket, whatever, badminton. They all played different sports. And later they only figure out at 13, 14 that, okay, I'm good at this sport. I think I can pursue my career in this. So when they decided that to take one sport as a career at that point, all the sports which they played has helped them technically, tactically in that one sport later.
Sure.
So they're more
Yep.
strong
Yep.
player. Yeah. So that is one
Yep.
more trait. They all played multiple sports. They all love playing. That's the only thing they had. That was during those days.
Gotcha.
So that's the main trait actually.
Gotcha. So it is passion of the child,
Yeah.
and obviously the technicalities and skill of the child, and identifying the early talent is the key here, right? Because if the same child is in some all different place or rural part of the India or something, they may not have gotten there, right? So for the coaches who identify the early talent or some other who identify the early talent, and then parents supporting them, and if they're in the right network, I think they become they grow the right way. And obviously
And
it's all once they are in the path, it's all up to the child or the sports person on however they want to take it. If they want to be disciplined and dedicated and determined to win it,
right.
so I mean it's a different path. And then if not, that's up to them. But I think identifying early talent has been the key here.
Right.
And obviously,
At the end of the day, the parents' role or the coach role or the school role is the same.
Yeah.
The parent role is to expose the child in different things,
yeah,
whether it could be sports, it could be academics, it could be art and craft. Expose them to different things and see where
Yeah.
the interest is.
yeah,
And when we do that, they spend more time on it, and they become good at it. You don't need to tell, get ready. The time it's 4 o'clock. You have to get ready for the soccer practice and all. Your role is to just do that. Expose them to many things and see where is more inclined towards. Once you do
Yeah.
that, your job will be so simple as a parent. So it's
That
a
is
school
true.
responsibility also. In school, you have to provide the children with various activities. Now I see in India many schools just they're constructed in a building. They don't even
Yeah.
have any extracurricular.
Yep.
So what happens if the child is not good in academics? Then he feels useless. His self-esteem will be so low. He might be good at something else, but you are not giving him the opportunity to do that. Right? So the
Yep.
schools have a role to play. The parent has a role to play. The parent has to take. If the school doesn't have the proper chances, parent has to invest some time, and in the evening they have to take to other classes.
Yeah.
and see. At the end of the day, it's just that you need to find what the right interest of the child and support him in
That is so true, and that's a very interesting observation, and I think which is very valuable, because the point that in terms of exposing the child to various categories or domains, right, be it sports, academics, or arts,
Right.
I think that is the key. That is really the master class of raising a kid, right? Once you expose them and let them determine what they want to go after,
Right.
and see what they're excited about, and what they love to do. And once that is understood, and that's a kid will obviously be excited and very enthusiastic to do those things day in and day out, right? So,
Right.
but that is something, as you were saying, that is something that that is not going to happen to many players, because as nowadays many schools are in just one building and no sports facilities, or that's everything is very distant talk, right? So in particular, I think that is one of the reasons. So, and okay, let me ask you this question, right? So India has a population of 140 crores, and most of them are 65 or 50, above 50% of them are under the age of 25.
Right.
So, and yet we don't have many Olympians, and even in cricket we still continue to struggle to produce the great talent in all the domains, and we only care about one or two sports. So what do you think can be done to change the scenario?
So actually, right now, a lot of many good things are happening in India. Because of the various sports leagues which have come up, like badminton league, cricket league, tennis league has come up, soccer league has come up. Now parents are increasingly interested in raising their children in sports. Like they're thinking sport as a career option compared to the 80s and 90s. So that is a big change actually.
Yeah.
We see many people, if you go to any tennis academy now or any other academy, there are many people they are very serious. Huh? They all wanted to, they're not playing for fitness. Many of them want to become a pro in that. So again, Khelo India Sports is a very good initiative by the government, where they conduct school games and university games at different levels. And if someone is in the top 30 or top 20, I think they give 5 to 6 lakhs per year to support them for the traveling and all that expenses. And even some CSR activities are going on really well. CSR also funding the athletes. For an athlete after 15, 16, it's all about traveling to different countries to play the tournament to improve their ranking. So financials are such a big problem. Right now, CSR is doing it, but I feel more companies should support sports people for rising an Olympiad or that thing. So because there are many issues in India, so some CSRs donate that money to some other cause. I think if more companies can donate towards sports, it will be very easy. And the other thing, what I feel is coaching education is something I feel a lot needs to be done in that. Because at a grassroots level, anyone can be a coach. If you have a small place, you can just open an academy without any certification.
Yeah.
Right. So that is a big challenge. What I have seen right now, coaching education has to be done at every level. So what happens is when a child joins an academy at 8, and if he goes under a certain coach and he is there with the coach for next 4 years, and suddenly if he goes to after 12, if the coach capability is only till 12, then he goes to a different coach at 13. That 13, what the second coach will say, who taught you this technique? It's all wrong.
Yeah.
Again, he has played maybe 100,000 balls till now. Now again, you have to change the whole technique.
Yeah.
Right. This thing is happening. I think coaching education has to be mandatory, made mandatory, and they have to keep on regularly attending the seminars and conferences to update their knowledge. Just like doctors, after completing their degree and after doing their practice, still they attend the conferences across and understand what is the best way to do this operation. You can't do the same surgery which you did 4 years back. The things change, right? So you have to update yourself. That is one big thing that has to happen. And the other thing is parent education has to happen. Because no one has traveled this path. If you want to go to US, okay, you can go to any visa consultancy and they can guide you which way to go. Okay. If you want to put your child in a good school, Okay, even your next door neighbor can tell you what are the best schools in Hyderabad and where to put your child. But if you want to raise a player,
Yeah.
whom do you go and ask? Where is that kind of information, right? So parent education has
Yeah.
to be done, very very important. Like this is a long
Yeah.
journey. It's going to take time. You will face challenges in under 12. These are the type of challenges you face. At under 14, you face this kind of challenges. At 16, you face this kind of challenges. What kind of
Yeah.
mindset you should have when you're raising a child, and how much money you have to save, what kind of emotional support you have to give to a child, and what should be your
Yeah.
role in raising a champion. All this, we
Yeah.
don't have all this, and every
Yeah.
parent is trying to produce a champion now by seeing all the good things happening around. But without
But
understanding this, if the child doesn't get a result in one tournament, and
yeah.
you are like scolding him, taking out of the academy and going to some other academy, all these things are happening.
Yeah.
So knowledge is very important. Parenting knowledge, coaching education has to be done mandatory,
Yeah.
and government is doing some good initiatives, and some infrastructure has to be developed. Of course, definitely that is
True.
a thing. We are doing it
Yeah.
slowly. Things are falling in place. I think 2030 they felt by 2030 they want to win more medals, and they're moving the right direction. And even some organizations also are there, like Olympic Gold Quest
True.
and Go Sports, where they support the top athletes with nutrition, psychologists, and everything. Like they give some motivational classes and all. Many things, many people are doing in their own
Yeah.
ways. From my side, I'm trying to educate the parents
Yeah.
with my books and all. This is how the journey is going to be. These are the mistakes some of the parents
Yeah.
have done. This is the right way to do. So I'm trying to educate the parent from my side. Others are doing in other spaces. So it's all, we are all coming together, and we are trying to build a champion.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, that is great. And I completely, agree with all of the reasons that you were saying, right? Because even when we were trying to build Indian sports, when we were trying to talk to the coaches, and, some of the coaches barely played 1 or 2 day leagues. If you take cricket, right, they barely played 1 or 2 day leagues, and now they are the coaches. So imagine, one of the international cricketer going under the coach, right?
Right.
When they were kids. So we would have never seen that player in international arena. So I think quality of coaching is the single most important thing, which is being very ignored, and it's really hard to change that scenario. But I think until we change it, situation is not going to improve much. But the other aspect that you were saying, right, parent education, I think that is the second most important thing, because even though if we identified like 100 players, so only 10 players make it to the top, because at least 90% we lose them because of lack of the proper knowledge from the parent. I'm glad you mentioned that, and you were doing something in the space that's very valuable. And I think government initiatives are going in the right direction, but in my opinion, they are not happening fast enough for us to even get to a medal in 2030. Right? It's not like a 5 or 10 year work. It has to happen so fast for us to be able to reach that goal, in my opinion. But at least things are moving in the right direction, which I'm very happy about. Right, and I want to take a step back and build on our previous conversation in terms of identifying the child's passion. Right, when we expose them to various sports or various categories like education, sports, and arts. So how can a parent identify this is something that kid really would like to do? Because when they're kids, some things might excite them for maybe for a few days, and then they move on to different things, right? And they might be good at it, but how can a parent know that he will become an expert at it, or he will be really good at it, to let them take the chance on their kids, right? So what should be the mindset of a parent here?
No, it's all about when you are trying to figure out what the child is passionate about. The first thing what you have to do is like you need to understand the child personality. Okay, let's let's come to sports. Okay, let's take an example of sports. Whether if the child is an introvert and an extrovert. Okay, so you need to understand whether the child sits well in a team sport or an individual sport. Then you have to understand whether the child has any kind of fears, like fear of water or fear of falling. If he has a fear of water, swimming is not the right sport to start with. Okay, if you have fear of falling, soccer, gymnastics, these things are not the right thing to start with. Okay. Then you need to understand whether the child likes to be more of indoors or outdoor. outdoor person,
Mm.
right? So then you need to understand if the child likes to move actively, play something which are more movement related games, or you want to sit and play board games like caroms or chess kind of,
Mm.
right? And if you need to understand whether the child is a morning person or an evening person, with some of these things, with some of these
Mm.
inputs, we can enroll the child based on the previous experience, whatever he had. If you have never played a sport, then you have to do certain things, like you have to learn the fundamental movement skills. And when we are doing that, we can figure out which activity we will enjoy more. Basically, what I'm doing right now in India
Gotcha.
is for 3 to 8 year old children, I have developed a curriculum called Sports Readiness Program. So we
Wow.
tie up with schools. We tie up with schools, and I have created a syllabus for it. So in that syllabus, we have 100 plus activities. So we do it with children, those activities, and coaches can make it out. This child is liking this kind of games. And in second grade, we suggest the parent, now your child is enjoying this kind of a activity. You enroll them in badminton. You will have more fun in that. So these kind of activities for us in sports, I can tell by seeing, I can try different games and tell which sport he can go into.
Gotcha.
So that is something we do. But again, it's very important. If the child is not liking any particular activity, you need to understand it could be based on these three reasons. One, it could be it is not suiting his personality is one. The second thing is the activity might not be age appropriate. Like if you buy a toy box, you see 6
Mm.
plus or 8 plus on the toy boxes, right? So there is a reason why they have mentioned that. Because children in that different each
Yeah.
age group can do certain things and they behave in a certain way. So if your child is 5 year
Mm.
old, you need to understand what he can do. What are the right activities at 5 you have to understand as a parent. Most of the sports are most of the sports you can start playing at the age of 8. Eight is the right age to start playing sports, other
Yeah.
than swimming, gymnastic, and skating. Those things are early specialized. You can start like 3 or 4 also.
Mm.
But any racket, ball games, everything starts at 8. So what do you do before the first? Then what do you do in the first 8 years? Then? So in the first 8 years, the kind of program which we are working, this is what we teach them. We teach them different skills like catching, throwing, kicking, running, jumping, hopping, all the basic movement skills we teach them.
Mm.
And based on how they are doing in that, in second, by the time the child comes to second grade, is an 8 year old. So we can tell the parent what needs to be done. And again, when you are designing the program, we have to keep in mind where from which environment the child is coming. He's coming from gadgets and all this beautiful world outside. And what he can do, we have to take all the parameters into consideration and design the program. These days, it's quite challenging to develop a passion in a child until and unless the coach understands all this and builds a program. Whether it could be any teacher also.
True.
If teacher also
Yeah.
want to make it exciting, any activity in the class, you need to understand where the child is coming from, what kind of things he watches at home. So how can you use that information and do something in your class so that he listens to that.
Yeah. Wow. So that's just a lot of information to process, and I think which is very key. And this is the first time that I'm hearing something like this. By the way, thanks for all the great research on this. So what you're essentially saying is we need to personalize the experience for each child, and while personalizing the
Right.
experience,
Every child is
we need
different.
to understand
We
their
need to
skill
understand.
set in various ways. Exactly. Yeah. And now I think that is something that hasn't happened in any domain, particularly in India, at least based on my knowledge, right? Because it's mostly one or two categories, right? Okay, you just go to tuition and just go to school and that's about it. Or you can have like 1 hour play period, and if you want to play, just play. If not, that's it, right? But what we are saying is, so now the parent has to be super conscious about raising a child in terms of assessing what they would like to do, because I think parents has to pay real attention to the kids and understand. So they have to be like fully into the kids' development, right?
Right.
Yeah. If that is not the case, then it's really it will only happen if someone identifies and maybe if the kid is really good. But if not, we are not naturally developing the kids. So again, coming back to the point, so it's identifying the interest of the child, identifying the personality traits and see what kids likes and what they don't like in the particular point of the stage. And yeah, that's very important. And I really like the point you mentioned about. Go ahead.
And again, finding the right coach in whichever activity you're putting them is super duper important. Super important. Like, even if you're taking your child to an art class, you need to do a proper research based on how your child is, and you have to tell his traits to the coach. My child is this kind of a kid. If you tell this way, you can get the best out of it.
Gotcha.
Okay. So what happens is, like when you are buying a car, you ask your friends, neighbors, and do all the kind of research on Google and all.
Yeah.
Right? When you are buying a land, you do the same kind of research. You are not going to go and just buy like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your child activity, which can be a game changer, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't take it just because your neighbor's son is going next door to some skating or swimming. You can't just take like that.
Yeah.
It is that you need to understand his personality, and you need to understand the coach who is teaching him, and what's his philosophy, the coaching philosophy, and what is his goal, why has he become a coach. It's something you need to understand all that. Or you just visit the academy, take one trial class, or check with the parents in the academy, how is the coach. You can just sit and watch how the kids are having fun and all. You need to do some background research before going, because if the child says that I don't like a program, if he says that, it could be because of these three reasons. It could be the coach.
Yeah.
It could be his personality. You put in a wrong program based on his personality, and it could be it's not age appropriate for him. Many parents think that my child is watching too much gadgets. So to make him play physically, to keep him physically active, they think sport is the thing.
Yeah.
And they directly put in a sport without any understanding which sport to put, and all. They just put in a sport.
Yeah.
So it could be any of the three reasons if the child is not liking any activity. So as a parent, you have to introspect: is it because of the coach? Is it because of the personality? Or if the activity which I have enrolled is age appropriate or not? So you will figure out your answer. It could be any activity.
Yeah. Wow, this is very valuable information. So, and another curious question, Sreekar. So how can parents learn more about this thing, right? Because this is the information that I'm hearing for the first time, and I'm sure it will be the case for many people. So how can, parents learn more about, this sort of information, and how can they start, how can they know which information or which data to collect, right? So what are the observations they need to make from the parent, from the kid, and what are the things that they need to expose when it comes to a sport, or, and how can they assess the coaching academies? So how can they understand all of this process and learn more about it?
So basically, my second book, which I have written, Child to Champion, it's a more of a step-by-step process.
Gotcha.
At 5, what you have to do with your child. Okay, at 8, what you have to do with your child. At 5, what your child can do and what his personality is. Okay, what kind of activities we have, what options we have. Okay, types of sports and your role in that journey. Importance of playing multiple sports. How to find the right coach. Everything it's related to sport, but you can you can take this and you can apply anywhere. You can take this and you can apply in anywhere. It's a step-by-step process with lot of examples of various athletes. It's a gold mine. Like I'm telling you, it's like so much research into the book. I simplified it and made it so easy. So Child to Champion is the book. You can get it on Amazon. And definitely that will help you a lot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have to be honest here. I know about that book, but I haven't read it. I think that is something that I'm gonna read it soon. And I can totally, based on your conversation, I can see why that is a must-read book for any parent, right? Because if we are going with this mindset, not just about sports, even for arts, this is the process. Understand the traits of the kid and then start tailoring their coaching or tuitions or whatever it is as per kids' interest and personality. So every child will become a champion if that is the case. It's just about the
And
parenting is not
recently,
being
during
done
my
right
trip to
due to
US,
the lack of resources. Yeah. Mhm. Sure.
recently in my trip to US, and I've been to few places, and some people invited me for dinners and lunches. So I've been there, and they were so proud they're hosting an author. So during my conversation and all, they used to tell their challenges. My child is 5 year old. Which options can I, where do I put? Is this kind of a kid? I can
Yeah.
suggest us and all that. And I've suggested some parents based
Yeah.
on based on that. I suggested some parents. Now they send me videos of their kids enjoying so much doing that activity. We never thought he will enjoy this and all.
Wow.
It's amazing that I can make I made some impact on them. You never
Sure.
know. He may take that as a profession also later.
Exactly. Exactly. So it will definitely go a long way because, as you were saying, right, this one thought that we
Right.
need can change our direction.
True.
So which is very important. Cool. Yeah, and I totally recommend that book to every parent, no matter what the age of the kid or what the kid wants to become or what you want them to become, right? So I think that's just the right way to do the parenting, right? So and in terms of the other things that parents need to do, right, Shrikar? So identifying the right coach and making sure the kid is enjoying the sport or understanding whatever you do, whatever the decision you made is right for the kid. So what are the other aspects that they need to consider, when they want to build a champion out of a child? So I know the question might be vague, but just curious to understand what are the other considerations that they need to keep in mind, because let's say I want a kid to become a cricketer, for example. And in India, like we have what millions of people who wants to become an aspiring cricketers, right? So how can if I'm a parent, I'm obviously too nervous about it because I don't know the future of the kid because there is so much competition. So I think this is one of the biggest reason for parents in India not to send kids to the sporting wide side, right? Because Indian kids are super into sports naturally because of so much network we have and so much fun that we get while playing, but that doesn't translate to in a good way in the future, right? So when we are growing up, that's because of the lack of opportunities and lack of competition. So that's highly very lack of opportunities, lack of resources, infrastructure, and very high competition. Right. So, what are the other things that parents should keep in mind while making all these decisions?
Yeah, first thing is, like as I said, provide as many opportunities as possible, trying various things, and figure out where they're passionate about.
Yeah.
Once you understand that, try to see if you understood that your child is passionate about cricket and he wants to pursue cricket as a career, right? So in that, once you identified that, now you need to see who is the right coach for him, for his personality, because different coaches have different coaching styles. So you need to understand who is the right
Yep.
coach for him. Then after that, you need to understand the journey of a player. So you have to read a lot of resources. There are many books out there, right? Or in
Yep.
TV also, there are a lot of legend stories coming up in between the matches and all.
Yeah.
You have to do your homework. You have to do parenting. For parent, it's all about research and homework. Like once you understand all about different journeys, then you know, okay, you keep things in perspective when things are not going your way. Like there will be some kids where they might have win the under 14 state championship, okay, and in under 16 they may not get any result. Okay, now he's a champion in state in 14, then suddenly in 16 there's nothing. So what you do? I think it's waste of time now. Now let's stop that sport and plus focus on studies, right? Some children will never get results in 12, 14, 16, but they're still working hard. They're very passionate. Coach is saying that this guy has the potential. It's just a matter of time. His body is still not fully grown, or mentally is a little weak, but technically is very sound. Once those things fall into place, and suddenly they produce the results. If you take the example of Sharat Kamal, he started table tennis at 5. Till 20, he did not win any major title. And 15 years it took, okay? Then he always used to ask his father, who was a coach, what's wrong with me? I'm doing everything in my capability and still I'm not getting a result. His father said, just keep working hard, you'll get someday. And from 21 to 30 years, he won 9 senior nationals.
Yeah.
And many people win sometimes in different stages. It's all about at every point you have to see as a parent whether the child is honest, is committed, and is doing his duty sincerely. That's the only thing you have to monitor, and make sure his academics is balanced. Try to work with the school and see that, take that permission and tell that the child is trying to achieve something in a different field. And whenever he comes, make sure that other kids treat him well and give that respect, whatever it is, because he's coming out of the school. He may not come regular to the school, right? And academics, many parents have to balance. Many parents, what they're doing right now is like, because they could not become a player, they want to make their child a player. So in that process, what they're doing is like at 3 or 4, they're starting their player's journey. They have decided that they want to make them a cricketer at 3 or 4. They start that, and every day they make them practice 2 hours, 3 hours every day. By doing that way, isolating the child from the social life, and also they're doing homeschooling, not sending the child to the school. So this education is missed, child social life is missed. You're only focusing on sport, and by using the same muscles again and again, a lot of injuries are happening. If you see the research, by age 13, 70% of the kids drop out from the sport. It is because of injuries and burnout.
Wow.
That's not the way to do it. So that is the reason why you need to understand the research, read about different stories, understand different journeys, because every journey is not going to be the same. Generally, what we parents do is like, suppose if someone is doing good, you say he also joined the academy at the same time as you, but he's getting the result. Why are you not getting? You start comparing with others, and the child self-esteem will be very low. Even in the same family, even the two kids are raised by the same parents. Right? The two are miles apart. Right? It's not the same, right? Even in the classroom, teacher teaches 30 kids the same topic, but different kids process differently. Only 1 or 2 people top the class and others don't. The same in sport. It's based on the learning capacity, based on the physicality. Results take time. You need to understand all this. Then you know whether you're doing right or not. And also you need to understand, only thing as a parent you have to check is he disciplined enough? Is he sleeping on time? Is he doing his nutrition well? Is he studying well? These things you take care. Remaining things the coach will take care. Okay, that's how you have to do. So read books, read stories, listen to different stories. Then that gives you a lot of perspective and you make many better choices.
True. So, it's, this is very, very, important information. I think every parent needs to understand. Thanks again for sharing this, Sreekar. So, and I can see the, time and effort that you put into in understanding this in the right way. Thanks again for sharing this. So here the role for the parent is, it's relentless research and homework. So it just doesn't end, with your marriage or with your job or, in the school. So the research and the homework that you need to do to raise a kid, it just has to happen, and it just needs to, continue to happen, right? Because you are collecting every data point, if you want to build, some sort of a model for the, child to become a champion.
Right.
So that's has to be very personalizable in the sense that you need to understand every data point, and you need to understand the coaches, all the factors that comes into the play.
Right.
And the other part, which will be very challenging, is not to expect, any major results from the kid, right? As long as you give them whatever the resources, they need, and as long as they are doing, whatever they like to do, I think we just, we should just let them do the things. All parents can do is provide the right environment and making sure that self-esteem doesn't, go down in any case, because with all the pressure in terms of academics, school, and community-based pressure, it's not easy for kids to do what they like to do, right? So I think all these factors should come into play, and then parents are the ones who should monitor this cautiously, and then believe in kids, and this let them go through the process. They may not be the champion today, tomorrow, or they may never be the champion, but they'll live a very happy life, and then I'm sure they will have it will have a lasting impact on their kid. And in fact, I think now if you think about it, that's the very right way to raise the kid. Right, just making sure they enjoy it, and that's the best that you can do. You cannot expect the kid to become a president or Olympian or anything. Right. Yeah, just give them what they need and let them go through the process. Wow. Okay. This, all these, started making, sense a lot. And I think this is the conversation that I needed, maybe, where you were talking about, one idea. I think this started making sense a lot to me. Wow. That's interesting. Cool. So I know, we spoke a lot, a little more on this topic, and we're also, I think running out of time. So just, want to take a step back and want to understand, your journey a little better now. So I know you met Rafael Nadal 6 times, right? Is that right? And just want to understand, like, what was your whole experience with it? And
I met Federer a lot.
Sorry, Roger Federer. Sorry, I don't know, Rafa.
I'm a huge fan of Federer.
So. Got it. So I have Roger Federer in mind, but I'm somehow getting Rafael Nadal name out. I think I was reading his post lately about Roger Federer retirement and all. I think I just have those in mind. But yeah, sorry about that. Cool. So what was your experience meeting Federer, and then what is something that you took away from it?
Yeah, it's like I'm a huge fan of sports, as I said. In 90s, I still remember watching US Open at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, night sessions in US.
Wow.
So in India, I used to watch at 4 or 5. And at night, I used to watch Wimbledon. Until I went to the hostels and all. I'm a huge tennis fan and a Pete Sampras fan during that time. So when I came to US, during those days, I could not afford to buy a racket in India to play tennis. It's quite expensive sport. So once I came to US, I thought, now let me fulfill all my dreams, okay? Let me buy the Unex t-shirt. Let me buy the Nike t-shirt. Let me get the tennis racket what Federer plays. And all that I'm doing. In that process, I thought, let me visit the US Open and watch the match. Okay, so I went to 2008 semi-final US Open. And I watched the match between Federer versus Djokovic, semi-final. So I was at the 30,000 full packed house, and I was sitting at the top row, and I was watching the match. And after the match, I went down, and I was going around the stadium to see on TV. I used to watch this. So where is that? I was like looking around the stadium and having fun around it. And I suddenly saw some people having an autograph of Roger Federer on their caps. I asked, who did it? Then they said it's Roger Federer. How come you met him? It's too high. How can you go even reach there? I asked.
Yeah.
So we got it. They said like, okay, maybe next year I'll try. Okay. So next year I went to Cincinnati Open in 2010. I went to the finals, and Federer and Marty Fish were playing. So in that finals also, I watched Federer won the match and was very happy. And again, I saw many people having autograph caps. Again, I asked them, how did you reach him? Then they said during the practice and all. So I could not get his autograph. So there is one shop there, and I bought a $400 autograph Federer frame. So I wanted to buy something, and I took it home. Then I thought, this is not the way you want to meet the player. Directly going to finals, it's not going to happen. It should be, you have to go 3-4 days before, so maybe in the practice session you can try to catch him. So from 2010 to 2015, every year that 1 week I used to go to Cincinnati Open. From Houston I used to fly, and there are 3-4 other friends, and that's like a celebration for us. So we used to go there. We used to buy the season pass and go.
Wow.
So in 2011, I guess, so Federer practiced, and it was like, and we were like, whether he'll give autograph or not. There were like around 250 people around the tennis court, and they're waiting for the
Wow.
autograph. And suddenly they started pushing and all. Then someone said, "Don't worry, he generally gives autograph for everyone and goes. Don't worry, don't push."
Wow.
Then that is the first time I got my hand out of the fence and got an autograph on the cap, and it was like a dream come true. And the most interesting part about Federer is
Sure.
whenever he's signing an autograph, he generally wears a cap, and whenever he's signing, he doesn't look what he's signing, but he's looking the face of the person who is he signing. And he has a
Wow.
he has a terrific memory. Who is a real fan? Who is what? He knows that.
Hmm.
So, like almost, I right now I might have around 25 autographs of Federer on different things. So I started like one day I gave caps, the second day again because I have a season pass. Next day I used to do something else and all that. He kind of recognized me. So once what happened, once he's done with his practice, I know from where he goes out. So instead of watching the practice, I was standing outside the stadium to just stop him outside. I want a picture with him. So suddenly, once he came out, they locked the doors. So the no crowd can't come outside. And he came out, and I was the only one there.
Oh, nice.
And I called Roger, and suddenly he turned, and he was surprised to see someone here. And I said, "I'm a huge fan of you. Can I have a picture with you?" He understood that I'm very nervous. It's okay. He made me calm. Where are you from? I said I flew from Houston. Seriously, you came from
Wow.
all the way along from Houston to watch this? Yeah, yeah, I'm a huge fan. And can I have a picture? Then he took a picture. Then again, 2013 he came, and I went for the draw ceremony, and he was playing a practice. It was just a guess. I thought today Federer will be in the court because the crowd generally don't come on the draw ceremony. Hardly anyone
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
So I thought, no, definitely he skipped Montreal. That means he'll come little early to Cincinnati, and even is August 8th is his birthday, so he
Yeah.
doesn't travel on August 8th. So definitely we have to be on August 6th. So it's all a lot of planning. Huh? So
Wow.
we guessed
Wow.
it, and some friends, how can you say that? I don't know. I'm just guessing. Okay, sometimes you have to trust and go, and we went, and Federer and Kevin Anderson were playing, and we saw hardly three people were there. We were seeing that, and suddenly Federer turned the other side and and he saw me. I'm like, oh my god! I was like so scared. Is it the right time? And I saw his face. He was a little angry. Looks like he's losing that set.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's little annoyed with his game.
Hmm.
Then I thought, no, I'm not going to ask him anything now because he's upset. So sometimes you need to understand the
True.
player's emotion. It's their job. They're
True.
doing their job. You can't disturb them.
Yeah.
So then I just said, no, I'm not going to stand here. I'll just wait at the gate where he boards his car. And if he's in a mood, I'll take. Otherwise, no. I'll just
Yeah.
stand there. So I
Yeah.
was just waiting there. After 1 hour, he took shower and he was coming out. And suddenly security guards were like they're trying to block everyone. No one should come there. And Federer saw me from inside the room when he's coming out. He
Hmm.
directly came to me and gave
Wow.
me a high five. And all the security guard was stunned.
Wow. Wow.
Who is this guy? And he said, nice to see you again. How was your flight? I was
Yeah.
stunned. You meet
Yeah.
him once a year, and he remembers I come from other other place, and he's
Yeah.
asking me how was my flight and all. And I said, I bought a season pass. I'm going to stay here for the whole week to support you. And he says, hopefully, I'm there till the finals.
Wow.
Hopefully, no, you're going to win it. Huh? Well, and it was a great conversation, and I can have a picture sure, he said, and all. He did that. And after the final, again, I met him. He said,
Mhm.
yeah, we did it. He says, we did it. He remembers all that. That's stunning.
Wow. Yeah.
That's stunning. And yeah, it's a terrific experience and such a humble guy. Once I met him around, him at night 1 o'clock.
Wow.
Night one, he finished his match at 11, and I waited till 1 so that he goes and he came out, and still there were 50 people outside.
Wow.
And he could have easily said, no, not at this time. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, he said he gave the kit to the other person to go and sit in the car. I'll come in 10 minutes. So what I understood this guy is he always thinks 10 minutes, if I can spend 10 minutes, I can add, like I can give happiness to the 100 people who are standing there. I think he has that
Yeah.
nature. Like I can make them 100 people happy in these 10 minutes. It's okay. What I do, I just go
Yeah.
and sleep. Instead of that, if I can sign an
Yeah.
autograph, I'll make their day. I'll make a memory in their life.
Yeah.
I think he thinks in that thought process. He's never arrogant. I just love the way he is. And if you're liking someone, means you already have that kind of traits. That's why you're liking.
True.
It's true.
Yeah.
Actually, if you like only people who are you can relate to yourself, right?
True. True.
So those things really connected with me, and it's an unbelievable experience. First time when I met, I thought my life is complete. Now I can die. I can just walk on the road and die. That was the feeling when I won the first time. Huh?
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing journey.
Wow. Oh my God. And kudos to your, relentless effort, right? You were waiting, till 1 o'clock
Right.
after the match is complete. And until, like 2 hours, standing at the gate. And,
Right.
if it is first time, it's understandable that you really like him and all. But if you are repeatedly doing it, that says a lot, about
Right.
you. And it's really good to know such a, humbling, human being, right? Because
Right.
you are the number one in the sport, and then you still takes time and never being arrogant and supporting or making others' lives better, or like just finding time for all of your fans, even after incredible what do you call the matches that needs a lot of mental pressure, right? So I think that says a lot about the Federer, and then I think there is so much for us to learn from it, right? Because
Definitely.
no matter how top we reach, there is no way that we should feel proud or be arrogant or just or get be in that pressure and be in that mode, right? So we always have to also care about other things and other people, if we can. So yeah, that's such a great masterclass. And thanks for sharing this experience. And I'm super glad that you got all those autographs and all. I'll probably find a way to steal one from you one or the other day.
Sure.
But cool. Thanks for that. So I know. So I want to understand. Some more things. I have a couple of ideas in terms of how we can help players in India. Or I just want to I'm just curious to know your thought process on it. So because as a person that you lived in US, so how it goes, in the sense we have good access to money, or at least may not be super rich, but at least people can donate some sort of money to sponsor, or don't mind spending or supporting players. So what do you think are some things that NRIs can do to support players in India?
Right. So basically, there are many organizations right now. Like as I told, like Olympic Gold Quest is one where they support a lot of athletes in badminton, pistol, rifle shooting, swimming. They have like weightlifting. They have picked some categories of games where they feel that there's a high chance of winning a medal.
Yeah.
So that once they produce a medal, then others also will be motivated to support them. So instead of taking some sports where their heavy load of investment is needed in infrastructure, they did not take those kind of sports where we can 100% achieve based on talent and skill.
Yeah.
So like archery, shooting, these kind of sports they support a lot. So Olympic Gold Quest does a great job. Go Sports Foundation does a great job. Laksh Sports does a great job. There are a lot of organizations we are doing there. So you can always connect with them, and you can tell that you can see the profile of athletes whom they are supporting, and you can pick like I want to support these 5 athletes from our initiative. So if you can feel proud that whenever those 5 athletes make it big or win a medal, that we are part of it.
Wow.
So they already done they already do the initial analysis and all and take under them. So it's just that you need to choose the right athletes and that's a better way because that is run by many legends of the sport who know everything. So I think it's better you donate to them because if you that is one way of doing it. And the other way is like if you want to support at a grassroots level in any school, basic balls will do. It's not just for to play the sport and reach at the next level. It's just that the sport gives you so many things, right? So
True.
the so many things it teaches, right? So basically for them, give an opportunity to explore themselves. So balls, basic nets and all that you can give to government schools. That's one way of doing it. Yeah.
Gotcha. It makes sense. And I didn't know that organization existed because that's something that I was trying to, either build or find someone who builds or who has that sort of network already. Because I was, last year, early this year, I was sponsoring a couple of table tennis players to, at the state level.
Nice.
But I can only do so much. I can only understand them so much, right? From here, even if I play, I'm not an expert in that field.
So basically, what they do is they're all very good actually. Like the players are already very good. Now what we are doing is like we are trying to do it state
elevating
level,
them
right?
to
So from state, if you want to take them to the next level, maybe they get selected into that organization at national level.
Yeah.
So what DAS did was like we supported an under 10, an under 12, these kind of kids we supported.
Yeah.
That age no one supports.
True.
That age no one supports. Once you reach a certain level, there are many people who support. And there are certain sports it's very difficult to find sponsors because it's quite expensive. Like tennis is a very, very expensive.
True.
And I see many parents asking me, see if we can find a sponsor for supporting a girl. She's already at world number 500 and all that things they say.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive. If someone can do that, we have like a couple of terrific people whom we can support and definitely they'll become a champion. Sure. Based on my experience interviewing them and by seeing their traits, I feel they'll make it.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know, and I think we will talk more about it offline. Yeah. But these are very good ways to know. Thanks for sharing this. So, and I'll end this with one last question, Sreekar. And this is something that I ask for every guest on the show, is that what is that something that you can help us learn in 2 minutes that took very long for you to learn?
I think what I can say is protect your why and the why will protect you.
Interesting.
Okay. So anything like why you started. If you start anything, why you started. So it all revolves around that. When you are in the process, there will be many setbacks. There will be many challenges. And sometimes you feel like giving up. But you started with a reason why, right? Why there is some purpose. There is some purpose you started it. So if you can protect that, and there will be many ideas other friends will be giving, why don't you do this? Why don't you add this feature and all? So they're all good to have, always good to have. You can always listen.
Yeah.
But I feel enjoy the process, do what you love, enjoy the process. You never know whether you're on the right track or not. You're just doing it. Suddenly, somewhere, all the dots will connect.
True.
So for me, when I did Dash, I just want to help people. That's the only vision I had. I want to help parents with the information required to raise a champion.
Yeah.
It just started. I never thought to make money through Dash. Now I started a schools program. It just happened. And I'm writing books for aspiring parents. I just started. Now if I see my background, now all this connect.
True.
He's an expert in this, he has done this, he's done this. I never thought I'd do a school program.
Yeah.
It just happened based on the experiences and stories I'm seeing. I had to start that. So always do what you love and understand why you are starting it. That's very important. Always question that, why am I doing this?
True.
Once you know your why and protect it, then it will take care of all other things.
Well, yeah, that is a great insight, and I love the quote as well. Protect your why, and why protects you. I mean, it's deep. I can say that.
I read it somewhere, but I
sure.
connected with it.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, because it's easy to lose that why along the journey. Right, because of so many things, you get lost with the work or pressure or so many other new ideas. Then there are so many shiny things that doesn't add any value, right? So if you're not protecting that way, it's easy to lose that. I think that's also what happened with My Indian Sports initiative that we started. So we started with a lot of grand vision, and we really authentically started. Our goal was never to make money. Even if we make money, it is to put it back and support players and stuff like that. But somewhere along the road, I think we missed that why, and then it took us in a different direction, which eventually led the whole initiative down. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's very helpful. Cool. And I think
when you're starting something, take some time and decide, because when you're starting, one more thing I realized is don't start anything in a rush. Take time.
Sure.
Understand it's going to be a 5-year affair. So you understand that process. Because if you don't take that timeline and all, then you keep jumping.
Yeah.
And again, the time is very important. If you're investing 5 years in it, again, the time will not come back.
Exactly.
Right? So think before you get into something. Is this what you love to do? Is this what you want to make a difference?
Yeah.
Then let's do it. Let's do it and put all in. We never know from where it can become so big. And money can come, everything can happen, but that we can't predict.
True. Yeah, I totally echo with you. So I think it's sometimes the easy path is getting you started immediately because you have that level of inspiration or motivation. Right. But that motivation and inspiration doesn't stay are not going to stay longer. Right. Only the purpose or the inherent passion drives drives us, right? So which means that the why is the key here. So I think the important part is making sure we take the time and understanding, collecting all the data points again and understanding what or how it's going to be the next 5 years. Okay, that's a very good input. Cool. Thanks for sharing the Sreekar. So I know we are at time, so just once again thanks a lot for firstly for everything that you do, right? It takes a lot of passion, grit and effort, work, everything. It takes a lot to be able to do what you are doing, and thanks for being an inspiration for many of us. And then again, thanks for being on the show with me today. It's a great conversation. I'm sure it will help many players or many aspiring players and parents over the time. So thanks for doing this, Sreekar.
Yeah, it's absolute pleasure for me to be here and sharing my experiences. And I hope our conversation will impact many more people, reach more people and impact them. And I wish you all the best in all the good work you do. You're doing a terrific job. The reason why I agreed for this podcast is that when we started the journey, I know the challenges what we faced. And as you are just starting the journey, I want to support you with the right content, and I want to guide you if you need any help from my side. And I wish you all the success in whatever you're doing. You're doing a terrific job, and wish you all the best.
Sure. Thanks a lot, and means a lot to me. And we'll talk. We'll continue, collaborating and talking. And I'll definitely take this, mentorship. I really need it, I guess. So thanks for this. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you really learned something from it. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to follow and subscribe for more quality and authentic content. This is where you get it.